So we're now going to continue, the last video today. We're going to continue that. But I do want to speak a little bit about FBN, because I got a field up here that I've done a test trial on between the arrest and the warrant. You guys didn't know about it. It's kind of one of the things I've done kind of last minute because I ran out of arrest up here and I started using the warrant. But basically arrest and warrant are the exact same chemical, but warrant is about I think whenever I bought it was about $4 more expensive, and that's from my local dealers. And then with arrest, whenever I bought it from FBN, it was a lot cheaper. Same thing with like that Resicor, the Recite, stuff like that. Recite, we used that a lot up here too. Well, no, actually, let me correct that. We didn't use that up here. We had to use Harness Extra up here because it's flood ground. But we used Harness Extra up here as well as arrest and warrant. So we're coming up here on the field now. It's irrigated, and I'll show you guys. But there's really not much of a difference. Warrant and arrest both. They do both kind of burn your beans back a little bit, which that's the way that warrant always has been. And really, whenever you spray warrant, you don't want to go look at it for a couple days afterwards. And I'm back up here looking at it now, and yeah, I can see why they don't want you to come back and look at it for a while, why they suggest it. But yeah, we're gonna look at this now. I'll show you guys the results. I mean, it's basically the exact same thing, so you'll see. You'll have to see for yourself. All right, so this side right here is warrant. All right, so you gotta walk in here a little ways so then you can see kind of like the actual results. But anyways, yeah, so this is warrant, and as you can see, the rows look really decently clean. Them ones right there look like they're probably starting to die a little bit, starting to shrivel up. And then this over here is the arrest. Maybe the arrest works a little bit better. I literally done it on the same ground, had the same growing conditions, same amount of water and everything, so there's not much of a difference. Once again, clean, except for that little guy. Vines. Really, really clean in that one. That one was buried. So the problem with the warrant is it's got something in it that will spot your beans up a little bit, which whenever it rains, they'll come out of them. But these look good. They're not quite to bloom yet. They're getting pretty close though. We got some back home that are blooming. The ones that we planted on like April 2nd are blooming. Oh boy, this is that mud? Please tell me that's mud. Ooh, that's mud. Okay, that's good. Whenever I first looked at this one, I kind of freaked out for a second. You see that? How it's... Yeah, I thought it was frog I'd leaf spot. I thought that was not good. That would not be good at all, though. But yeah, this looks really good right through here. Consistent, clean. Only problem is it might have some volunteer corn popping up eventually, of course, because Dad does not like to slow down his combine very often. This farm up here is usually, or our ground up here is usually a lot cleaner than what our ground back home is, because Dad really can't run that fast when he's picking corn, because the elevator that we got up here that we haul all of our grain to is not that quick. So we go slower up here than what we do back home, because back home our elevator is quick enough that it can keep up with the combine. But this one up here is smaller, this elevator is smaller, and plus whenever we're up here we're usually trying to run 2 crops at the same time. So yeah, nice little ditch there, all nice and cleaned up. I took care of all the Johnson grass that was right through there. There's a lot of Johnson grass up along these ditches up here. It was not looking very good, but I did get it all taken care of. Right there you may see a Wild Cummins motor. If you walk very gently and very closely, you can actually get close to it without it starting up. Just gotta be very diligent, very diligent. So this is one of our irrigation motors that we got up here. This one's Cummins. It's got a Murphy switch on it. If you didn't know, a Murphy switch basically is just make sure that a Murphy switch basically just makes sure that it has oil in it, so then it'll keep running. And if anything else goes wrong with it, I mean, these are not electronic motors, and we don't have the time to sit here and watch them 24/7, 24 hours a day. So them Murphy switches will save us a lot of money if we're smart about it and we're not careful. If the Murphy switch goes out of it, the motor won't run. But if the Murphy switch detects something low or something off in the motor, it'll shut off the motor, and it'll save you a lot of money because then you don't blow up your motor because it's out of oil. So yeah, we have 3 irrigations up here. 2 of them are ran on Cummins motors, and then the other one is ran off of a Detroit motor. And then we also have 3 more, and the other 3 are ran off of electricity. Problem with out here is, to get electricity to it, you gotta go like way over there. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know that I want to pay the bill to get that water or get that electricity over here. So yeah. So I got a surprise for you guys, a little bit different. So right here in front of me is a watermelon field. Okay, I know, different, I know, watermelon field, but this is plastic, and this is your watermelon plant. So this is one of our neighbors, pretty good friends of ours. Actually, you guys might know of them because their watermelons go a little bit everywhere. It's actually Musen's. So if you see a tag on your watermelon that says Musen Farms, it came from either Vincennes, Indiana, or Florida. I think Florida, yeah, something like that. But anyways, they use this plastic here to keep it warm, protect the plant, and also to try and not have to worry about that. Basically, that's just crop left over from last year, or weed or something popping up through there. But yeah, this is a little bit different of a plant. It's a little bit different of a setup, and it's actually really cool to see them come out here and plant it. One day I'll have to see if they'll let me video it, because they lay down this plastic first, and then they'll go through and they got a little thing that'll pop the hole in the plastic, and then they'll drop this plant down in there, and they transplant the plants. So they grow the plants in a warehouse, or they buy them out of a warehouse, and then they'll come out here. I'm sorry, I'm burping a little bit today, but they'll after they do that, they'll transplant them in here. They'll put them in this planter, and people sit on the back of the planter and they drop them down in this thing, and then as the thing's going around, it drops them down in the hole, and that's what you get. And it's consistent all the way across here, same spacing, all that stuff. It's really neat. I mean, there's quite a bit of acres out here. I'd say that there's probably about 300 or 400 acres of watermelons out here, and they do. So you can see like a white bus down there, and there's a couple of tractors. There's some more buses back there. There's some wagons. They'll use them wagons to haul stuff out here, and then they'll use them buses as well. And the buses are basically old school buses, and they cut the sides out of them. It's really interesting and really neat, but it's a different style of farming, and you see a lot of it here, surprisingly. They grow watermelon, sweet corn, pumpkins. Got a neighbor that grows broccoli, tomatoes, potatoes. And what else do they grow around here? I'm sure they grow some other things, but that's just a couple of things. And like I said, there's probably 300 or 400 acres out here, if not more than that, of just watermelons. I mean, they're all spaced pretty wide. I'm not sure on the exact spacing. It looks like it's a couple feet wide, but yeah. Then they got porta potties up there for them all to use the bathroom in and relieve themselves. So watermelons are a very, very good crop, and it's very particular to put on sand. I've never really understood it. I've never really looked into watermelons a whole lot, but I do know that they like to put them on sand, because every time they put watermelons out, it's always on sand. So they also, somehow in here, they are also watering these plants. So there's like, I think yeah, right there, you can't really see it, but you can feel it. There's a little piece of trickle tape in there, and basically this trickle tape just puts a little bit of water out, just enough to water that plant whenever they need it. And I'll show you guys here in a minute. It's really cool. We'll go up there along the road and I'll show you guys kind of the piping system they got going up there, if they got it out yet. So then right here they have a tanker, and I'm guessing that they're using that for fertilizer. But as you can see right there beside that tanker, there is a little piece of lay flat running across there. It's got a hose that runs into the lay flat. This field doesn't look all that good right now because, I mean, it kind of looks like it's gotten some wind to it, and the wind might have hurt it a little bit. Yeah, pretty neat. But the wind and watermelons do not go together very well, because watermelons is easy to break off the vine. So a lot of times they'll put like rye in between the rows, and I guess that helps with keeping the vines from splitting and stuff like that. They'll also come out here and they turn vines. They do all kinds of stuff out here, guys. It is insane the amount of work that they put in to make sure that you can get a nice old juicy watermelon from southern Indiana. But they put a lot, and I mean a lot, of work into these. But this is actually pumpkins right here. So this field right here on my right hand side is a pumpkin field, and they don't put plastic on pumpkin fields, but they are planted later. So they plant them about towards the end of what we would call the end of our growing season for corn, or for beans, or planting season for beans. And they do that because they want it to be a later crop. They need to be able to harvest it in the fall around Halloween time. And yeah. So they pick them all up the same way, but they plant them a little bit different. They actually plant pumpkins with seeds, and they transplant watermelons. Now, they do pick them all up the same. They hire a bunch of migrant workers to come up, and these bunch of migrant workers, they come up and they have them buses I was talking about, them old school buses with the sides cut out of them, and they'll stack a bunch of them all the way across the field, and they'll just go through there and they will pick them all. And I've seen them pick them up, guys, whenever it is so wet that you wouldn't even want to walk in that field. And they'll go out there and they'll drag it with a big tractor. That's mainly because they got contracts they got to fill at a certain time. They can only keep so many watermelons in one place. And here's another field of watermelons right here. Not sure if you can see that all that well, but yeah, more plastic. But watermelons are one of the most susceptible crops around here. Anything, or basically every chemical that we spray will kill them, besides fungicides. So that's one thing that we always have to look out for. Dicamba is really bad. Liberty's really bad. 2,4-D is not all that bad, but it's still bad for them. And Roundup is about one of the worst in our area as far as killing watermelons. And same thing with pumpkins and potatoes. But usually potatoes are done growing by the time we're out spraying, so we don't really have to worry about potatoes that much. But pumpkins is one of our biggest worries of all. Or not pumpkins, watermelons. And here's some more watermelons up here, I think, too. No, this is regular field corn this year. I thought there was some sweet corn up here. But sometimes what you'll see is, for double crop, some of these people will put pumpkins in a double crop field. That's soybeans, but yeah. So there's a little bit of your daily dose of southern Indiana for you, in case you wanted to know. Oh, here's some more watermelons. These ones are a little bit farther along too. They're probably about ready to come out and turn some of the vines on them. I'll have to talk to my neighbors sometime and see if I can get one of them to kind of explain to you guys a little bit more about the watermelon industry. It's a rather interesting and a more difficult industry than corn, but they make a living off of it. They do a lot of watermelons, and they do a lot of pumpkins as well, and sweet corn. Oh, I'll show you guys the mule train. They actually got one down the road from the farm. I'll show you guys the mule train too that they use for sweet corn. That is really cool. So the mule trains they use, they stack people on the sides of them. I won't be able to like really get out and walk around it because it's kind of sitting like in a bad spot for that. But anyways, they put people on the side, or they kind of walk in between the rows along the sides of this mule train. And they'll take the sweet corn, they'll throw it up there on the belt, and the belt takes it to the center. Then the belt then takes it to the center. Somebody's sitting up there and they're throwing it onto the in the pallets on the back of it. That's really cool to see too. Man, I'm gonna have to try and talk to him and see if I can get him to let me do something like that. So, and I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of controversy over the migrant worker thing, but the migrant workers like in our area, the reason they come here is because a lot of kids that are in high school and stuff do not really want to go out and work in the melon fields, and our area is pretty bad about that. They don't want to really go out and do much. There's my agronomist, passing him. But they don't really want to go out and walk in them fields all day and throw watermelons all over the place and do stuff like that, which is understandable because I really wouldn't want to do it either. But the fact of the matter that it's money is another thing, and there's people that sit at home, you know. But people don't really get out and they don't really go work as much. They don't really like to go work out in the fields and be out in the sun all day. I do have some pretty good friends though in the farm industry that they really do around here, especially. They go out there and they work all the time, and props to them, props to all of them. And yeah, but we're gonna go check out this mule train. I'll show it to you guys, but like I said, that's their operation, that's not ours, so I'm just kind of gonna try to keep my distance, and you know, but we do kind of look at them watermelons, we watch them close, make sure that nothing's drifted over on them, make sure that everything's okay with them. So yeah, because that is a big hurting on us. That is a very, very big size check. Watermelons is one of the most expensive crops to grow in Indiana. It is one of the most profitable as well on a good year. If you look at the Chicago Board of Trades, I think it's like #1 on the list. I don't really know, I'd have to look, but it's one of the #1 on the list profitable crops grown in Indiana, if you do it right. So then right here, we got some sweet corn. There's some sweet corn. And then, I don't know if that's regular field corn or if that's Milo. No, that's regular field corn. But, oh yeah, that's another crop that's growing out here, Milo. We do have a neighbor that tried to do canola once, and we do have a neighbor that does a little bit of barley. So yeah, we have a pretty wide variety of stuff around here that gets planted. It's actually really interesting. Also, we do get green beans growing around us sometimes. Yeah. So there was a mule train sitting right here by this field, but no, it's right there. I'll show you guys. They're pretty cool, these mule trains are. So they can also change the motors out on these. They got a spare motor. It's all yeah. Once again, I can't talk today, but they do have a spare motor on them. They will change them out, I think, at least. They do change them out kind of as they please, or whenever one of them blows up, or yeah, you guys get the idea. But I think our neighbor here, they have 2 of them that run around out here. Hauling them is always interesting whenever they haul the watermelons and pumpkins and everything. But here's the mule train. So basically these 2 things, they fold out sideways, and then yeah, slide it all down the conveyors, detasseler, so they can cut the tassels off of it. Pretty neat stuff, guys. It really is. It's pretty neat stuff that they do around here. It's crazy though to think that they grow this many crops out here. And here's some more watermelons. Them ones are a little bit bigger. That field's probably about 80 acres, I'd say. About 80 acres there. Not too bad. But yeah, like I said, guys, there's a lot of watermelon. There's a lot of specialty crops here is what I should be saying. But yeah, we're gonna go over here and look at some corn here in a second, and yeah. So then this one here, one of our neighbors, he has a irrigation that crosses this road. So you see that there, that gate? So they'll close this gate and let this irrigation go around, and then I'll open the gate back up. So yeah, another really cool thing. It's a little bit different out here, guys. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's pretty cool too, to see him do that. And then this irrigation here, it's got a quarter arm on it. It'll go around all the way throughout this field, and yeah. Okay, that was pretty interesting. Oh my, what's this corn look like? Ooh. Not bad. This is the worst time of the year whenever the corn's tall and it's itchy. Ooh. Common rust. More common rust. Let's see now, what do we got around the bottoms? Look at the bottom leaves, check for gray leaf or tar spot. Looking good so far. Nothing more than some common rust and some scars from bugs chewing on them. Ooh, here's gonna be a really good one. Ooh. Guys, I love nature. It's just such a beautiful thing. You can't tell me it's not. Nature is created by God, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, it gives us a headache sometimes, but it really is just beautiful. Oh, there's some more from a bug. Got a hole chewed right through it. I think this year we're gonna have some bug problems. Yeah. Might have to check that out. And we'll probably end up having to spray. Yep, see, there's some more right there. That one's not good. The whole half of that leaf's not any good anymore. There's the truck. Didn't walk out there too terribly far, but I walked out there enough to be able to tell you that we're gonna have a bug problem this year. So, but we do got a storm rolling in from the south. Another one. That's a good thing. Alright, so I got something else I want to show you guys while I'm out and about before I go back home and in the video. But, okay, so you see how this field has a yellow tint to it? I think that could be from spider mites. We do have some spider mites back in front of my house. So therefore we got to spray the field around my house, the field across the road from my house, and the field, and like around the grass in my house to get rid of them. Sometimes, like the rain that we had today, we'll take care of it, but let's see here. Get a clean piece of paper. So basically what you're gonna want to do whenever you're looking for spider mites is you'll get you a nice clean piece of paper, lay it flat like that. You want white paper. You can see it on white paper a lot easier, but I know them pretty well, so I can usually pick them out. So we're going to pull a leaf off. It's kind of hard to do one-handed, so just set the GoPro down. All right, so I pulled a leaf off here. You want to take it and you tap it out on the... Yep, we got some out here. You tap it out on the piece of paper, and then I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it or not, but there's little bitty spots. And they're moving very slowly. I mean, you can barely see them with the naked eye, so it surprised me if you could see them with the camera. But yeah, we have spider mites out here. So we're gonna spray this field, well, the one around the house, my yard, the one across the road from my house, with chemical for spider mites. Get that taken care of and get that out of the way. So spider mites are bad. They're really bad, actually. They're really detrimental to yield. Thankfully, at the rate that they're at right now, there's not that many of them out there, and the beans will come out of it. We did catch it early enough, and we are going to spray it early enough that it should be fine. But if you're not careful, you will lose a lot of money to spider mites. So we got to be very careful about that. A lot of times they come off on the edges. I've never really understood that, but they come in on the edges, and they never really go that much farther than the edges. But they're basically just little bitty teeny tiny bugs. Like you could hardly even pick them out with your eye. You gotta look really, really close. So, but by looking at the field, you can see the yellow tint to it, the little spots in it, and you can kind of tell that that's what's going on. So anyways, guys, Sneakers here wants to say hi. Ain't that right, buddy? He's getting old. Had him since I was a little kid. But anyways, that's gonna be all for today's video. I'm getting ready to go inside. I'm gonna do some editing for you guys before we go on vacation, and that way I can get a little bit caught up. Please remember to like and subscribe, follow the farm Instagram, Facebook page. If you want to become a member of FBN, please remember to use code RUSH100, links in the description. And yeah, I think that'll be all. So see you guys in the next one.